It's 6 p.m. and I'm going to call this regular meeting of the governing body of the Zoning Board of Adjustments to order. It's the 18th day of October and we're here at the Navasota City Hall. Agenda item number 2, do we have anybody that wants to comment on anything that's not related to the agenda item? If not, we'll move on to agenda item number 3. Consideration and possible action on order number 6-2023, approving a zoning variance request submitted to the City of Navasota by Gennaro Jr. and Kendra K. Romero for the property located at 514 Victoria Street in Navasota, Grimes County, Texas, 77868, parcel ID R23861. The variance request to allow for the construction of a patio addition encroaching within the 25-foot front setback requirements as prescribed in Article 5, R-1A, high-density single-dwelling, 7,000 square foot lot residential district. The property affected is legally described as Felder, Block 18, Lot 8, 9, and 10, and what is that, south
half.
South half. Okay.
Ball.
Okay. So, Lupe, first, why don't you give us a review and explain why we're back here?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, Zoning Board of Adjustment, so the ZBOA met on October 4th. You guys conducted a public hearing with various members of the public to hear all comments related to this request. Following the public hearing, moved on to the action item. And no motion was made, so there wasn't a motion and ultimately no vote. I think there was a few of us that were under the impression that a no vote meant an automatic denial of the order. Staff, we reached out to our legal counsel and they clarified that with orders in particular, especially when it pertains to the Zoning Board of Adjustment, you have to have a motion and a vote. Whether it's yes or no, regardless, you have to have that on record. And the reason being is, for example, if an order is denied by the ZBOA, there's procedures in state law and in our ordinance that give the property owner, someone that would consider themselves aggrieved by the decision, an appeal process. Well, if there's no vote, then there's nothing that they can appeal to. So just to do due diligence and follow state law, a vote has to be made to give the proper avenues to the property owner if the decision was a no. And so with that being said, I don't know if y'all have any other questions pertaining to the item itself. And if not, I think there's probably a few people that want to speak.
Okay. Ms. Romero, did you want to get up and speak again?
Concerns last time about the poles that are sticking up. I have thought about those poles. If that was an issue, those can come down. We do have in plans to make the porch more curb appealed as far as adding to the bottom of the porch to where it's not just opened, and it does look nicer. We are in the process of actually painting it right now. I know it was said last time, you can restrict your kids to play in the backyard. Well, I have a pool in my backyard, and as you can see, I have a 3-year-old that doesn't know how to sit still, nor do I want to restrict him to an area that has a pool in it. And again, the stop sign issue is still an issue. Every day there's at least 15 cars that pass by, and I don't think that it's right that, you say you let my kid play in the backyard, but there's a pool, so that's not a safety for him. I can't let him play in the front yard because that's a safety for him, and the city doesn't do anything to uphold the law with the stop sign to make people try to stop it. They don't go over there and give anybody tickets. They don't patrol the area. They don't do anything to cut the trees back to make sure that the stop sign is more visible. They don't do a speed bump. They don't put lights around the stop sign. We have made all of these recommendations to them, and they don't do anything. So in order to give my children a safe place to play, this is something that I've built on, and I do plan on making it look more curb appealed. We do plan on, like I said, closing in the bottom to where it doesn't just look like that. If the poles are a problem, then yes, I don't mind cutting the poles off to make it look nicer. I just had those up there to where if I wanted to put lights or anything like that, but that's not an issue. An issue is my child's safety and being able to let them have a place that they can grow up, that they can play.
All right, thank you. Did y'all have any questions for Ms. Romero? Okay, thank you.
Just one question in regards to the stop sign, and I do apologize. You brought this up to the city already?
And told them about people stopping, and they have a patrolman sit there for 2 days. I mean, I understand it's not, ideal for them to sit there every day, but in 2 days, I guarantee they would get at least 40 people.
Okay.
They don't do that. I've called the city and asked about speed bumps. They said they can't do that. I've asked about lights around it. I call all the time about the trees being cut around it. And, I mean, when they go over there, they trim a branch this big, and they said they've done their job. They haven't done anything to, and all of this should be on file because I give my name, I give my address, I give my phone number every single time I call.
Okay. I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Did anybody else want to speak? If you do, you need to come to the podium and give your name and address.
Hi, I'm Betsy Leonard. I live on McNair Street. And I just wanted to say that, from the prior hearing, that I object to granting a waiver for this particular construction. The city should have noticed it when it was starting to be built many years ago, and they didn't say anything and they didn't do anything, and now they've added onto the porch, and the city still has, not questioned it. And I feel that ignorance of the city code is not a reason to grant a waiver after the fact. And so, I would say we got to do something, cut the porch back or down or something to make it more in line with the city ordinance. You start granting waivers on this, other people are going to come along and say, but you granted them a waiver and after the fact, and here we are, I want a waiver after the fact. So I just, it's a little bit on the late side. Garage sales in Navasota have to have permits. I don't know why this, never was permitted. I do appreciate you all considering this. It's a difficult decision you have, but that's my personal opinion and, my feelings about how the city has let these slide too many times. Thanks for letting me speak.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name's Helen Quinn. I live on Victoria in the next block. I was going to say a lot of what Betsy said, so I won't have to repeat that, but I agree with what she said. I just want to note that I've lived in my current house for 39 years, since before it was a through street on Victoria, and it was always nice and quiet. Now there is a lot more traffic now. I've not had a problem with people speeding. Sometimes there's loud noise when they drive around with the music blowing loud. But my main objection is that it's really, I hate to say this, but it's an eyesore. And I know she has said that she's going to pretty it up and make it look more eye-appealing, but it looks bad. It's against the law. I've always been one to ask permission if I want to do something that doesn't fit into the city's requirements. And I too feel that if a variance is granted and it's allowed to continue, then it will encourage other people. And they'll think, well, I don't need to get a permit, and I'll just build it, and then they won't make me take it down. And it's just, I can't see it because my house sits back off the road. So, that's a blessing for me, but I'm just against a variance and letting it go on. So, thank you.
Ms. McDonald?
My name is Shirlene McDonald. I have a house at 611 Victoria. I was not able to attend the last meeting, but I did drive by just to give that another look. And I agree with exactly what these first two ladies have said. The onus is not on the city or us to provide a safe play area other than a playground. The city provides playgrounds for children, but it's not our responsibility to provide a safe yard for an individual yard. And because she has a swimming pool, to me the onus is on her to protect her child from the swimming pool with a fence. But I totally agree with, if you allow this waiver, then you're going to follow suit with many more people, and it is definitely going to devaluate our property values. And I just don't agree with allowing a waiver at all. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to speak on this matter? Any of y'all have any more questions of Lupe?
I have one question, Lupe.
Mhm.
In the beginning, was there any attempt to to see if any permits were required in the very beginning?
So I think Ms. Romero in the past has said that going all the way back to the original wraparound deck that you see in these photos, I think at the time, I think she said it was well over 12, 10, maybe 7, 8 years ago, I don't remember exactly. It was told that basically if they didn't require any digging into the ground, then no permits were needed. And so she had that same, thought process when she went into this one.
I
So,
did not know that the rules had changed, so we didn't do any digging on this one until contact me, told me that there was an issue that I needed a permit. So I did file for the permit and go in the right route and for everything, but when we originally built the first floor, that rule was not.
and I think just looking back at the property, the home is almost like an L shape. And so I think that the original wraparound deck probably didn't encroach further than the furthest point of the house. So even that in and of itself, while it may not have required a permit way back when, it still didn't encroach further into the setback, so it probably was a non-issue for most people. But obviously this one extends quite a bit past the front of the house, and so there was an obvious further encroachment. I think the front of the home already encroaches on the setback line, and generally the way we've treated these cases is, there's a lot of older homes in the city. When the zoning ordinance was passed, it doesn't really fit perfectly like a new subdivision does, but we've always treated that front of the house as like the new line, and anything further would require a variance, and anything that's there in back, is grandfathered essentially. So I just think at the time whenever the original one was built, it really didn't raise any flags just because it didn't encroach further than the front of the house, at least to a certain extent. But
Thank you.
Any more questions?
And I might add something.
Ma'am, I need you to come up there. And the reason why is because people watching or viewing this later, they only hear us and they won't hear your answer. So they're only
fine.
hearing one side and not the other.
As far as trying to do something that was against the law or not following rules, that was never my intentions. As I said before, when we originally built, that was not the rules, so I was not under the impression that the rules had changed. So saying I'm breaking the rules and other people are gonna do it because I did it, that's not how it generally works. Usually people ask, which I did before, and just assume that the rules were still the same in the same city. But I will say that if you're gonna sit here and say the city needs to make sure that one law and rule is followed, then I feel like the city needs to make all rules and laws followed, which my concern is the stop sign. So the city needs to make sure that everybody that goes by that stop sign is following that rule, and it becomes a safer place for people to raise children and not just live in a city that they gotta live inside the house or in their backyard. So if we're gonna make sure that one rule is followed, then we need to make sure all of them are.
Thank you. Okay, I will ask for a motion to approve or deny.
And if I will say one thing before a motion, in your packet I included like a variance guideline. And so, obviously if there's a motion for approval, the order that's in your packet, generally we write those as a template assuming approval. But if there's a denial, just want to make sure that in the motion to deny, that you include one of the four items that ZBOA is considering when they consider variances. So if you look in your order, it's the second page, I believe. Yeah, second page of the order, and then the guideline itself. But specifically, the guideline is just there to help you make that decision. But on the second page of the order, they're in parentheses. Number 1, due to special conditions. 2, contrary to public interest. 3, preserving the spirit and intent of the ordinance. So if a motion is made, maybe take a moment to consider those 1 through 4, and just, pick 1 or 2 or all that you feel, you're denying if a motion is made to deny, you're denying it based on one of those factors, either 1 or all. And the guideline is there to kind of help walk you through those 4 items. And if you have any questions, I can definitely assist with that.
This is the sheet you're looking at, right? You're talking about right in here where it
Yes.
lists 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah, finding a fact, yeah. Those 4 items is what the ZBOA should be using to determine if a variance is to be approved or denied. Obviously, if they don't affect these things, and generally you approve. If you feel that they're against, then you would vote against.
I move to deny the order 6-2023.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Conlon to deny the variance to allow the construction of a patio addition encroaching within 25 feet front setback requirements as prescribed in Article 5R-1A.
And Board Member Collin, what specific item are you gonna?
I think if I had to pick one, it's public interest.
Okay.
And I don't believe that the variance, has anything to do with the spirit and intent of the ordinance.
Gotcha. Okay. So item 2 and 3.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, so we have a motion from Ms. Conlon to deny and a second by Ms. Vidato. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Moving on to item 4, consideration and possible action on approval of the October 4th, 2023 meeting minutes as presented. I move we approve the minutes. Second. Motion by the chair, approved, second by Ms. Conlon. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And that brings us to item 5, and we're adjourned.